Washington State was a very overlooked team in the 2018 season. They did go 11-2, but a lot of people kind of overlooked this team for many others. But how are they going to do in 2019 is what we're going to be going over today. Washington State schedule preview. We're going to be going over a few players that this team will be losing, who they're going to be returning, and also we're going to be looking at their schedule for the first time this offseason. Washington State once again went 11-2. Really had a ton of potential last season, and they very well used it. They do lose Gardner Minshew, Williams at running back as well, and then they lose one left tackle, a wide receiver, and then two defensive linemen, a linebacker and cornerback. Actually, I believe that is two linebackers and two cornerbacks as well. This team really is losing quite a bit next season. It's going to be interesting to see how they do with that. I mean, Gardner Minshew, that of course, whenever you lose a quarterback, that's always going to be a tough one to have to deal with. But yeah, Williams at running back, that's another pretty big loss. With the wide receivers, it's going to be interesting to see how this team does. Once again, they do have a moderate amount of losses, and once you have a lot of losses, especially to seniors, the next season may be a little bit down compared to how the last season went. Possible 9-10 win season in 2019. I think 9 is much more likely than 10. Obviously, that's obvious, but I think 9 wins is possible. But it's even going to be difficult for them to get to 9 wins, I think. With the amount of losses that they're having, it's going to be a much different season in 2019 than 2018. Will the losses be very impactful? I think that they will be. When you're having to get a whole new quarterback, you're going to really replace a lot of the defense as well. You can't even forget about that. Their defense is losing 6 starters. It's going to be difficult. It could be very difficult for this team next season. Here's what their schedule looks like. Really, their non-conference games are pretty easy. You got 3 of them all at home: New Mexico State, Northern Colorado, and then your hardest one obviously is Houston. But with that being at home in Houston, I think they'll be a little bit down next year. I think that that should be a win right there. I do have that one in green. UCLA the next week, they should win that game as well. So Brian, they should get to a 4-0 start at least next season. I'd be very surprised if they didn't go 4-0 to start off the season. Utah, Arizona State on the road the next couple of weeks. Of course, though, you do have a bye in between there. But yeah, those could be more difficult just because they're on the road. Colorado, Oregon, Cali, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington. Really, I'd say this is one of the easier schedules in the Pac-12. So Washington State, kind of fortunate there. But estimated record-wise, I'm saying 6-6 to 11-1. I would say your best estimate would be between 8 and 9 wins. I think, 10 wins is possible, but I don't really see it happening just because of their losses. I think they may lose one against Utah and Arizona State. One of those games will likely be losses. Oregon and Cali, they'll probably lose one of those as well. And then at Washington at the end of the season, I think will also be a loss because 1, it's a rivalry game, and 2, it's on the road in a very difficult environment. So that's why I do have Washington winning that game. Oregon State, though, on November 23rd, I think they're going to get that one as well. So I'm giving them 5 guaranteed wins on this schedule. That is more than average on my schedule previews. So yeah, definitely a lot of games on this schedule are very winnable. Almost every game, actually, on this schedule is winnable. Your most difficult ones, I'd say, are Oregon and Washington. My bad. Just because Oregon should be pretty good next season with the recruiting classes that they have and stuff. And Washington, of course, they've got a great recruiting class. Not as good as Oregon, but it's still pretty good. Then they're not losing a whole lot. But yeah, I do believe the Washington teams will be a little bit down next season. Even Washington, I'm not really predicting to be as good next season as they were this season. But I do expect Washington State to once again be the better team out of those two. But yeah, anyway, that is it for Washington State's schedule preview. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this team in the comments below. Should be an interesting team next season. Kind of interested to see how they how they end up next year. Should be a fun one. Anyway, once again, let me know your guys' thoughts on this team in the comments below. Thank you guys all for watching once again, and stay tuned for more from ASC.